This is my precious grandbaby. She's beautiful.
Yeah, look at those.
She is talented and athletic and can play
piano. What's the P
piano.
stand for? What's the P on her hair?
It stands for Presley.
It's going to be a great show.
It will.
Go ahead and kick it off, man. You ready?
Very special edition here, I like to call it, of the Pass Rush with Stevie Lee, but it's actually a Shreveport, Louisiana takeover tonight for episode 237. Stevie Lee, and listen, I don't like being the center of attention. My head is huge to begin with. I'm just not sure how to make this work with just three people without me being here. I know this cranium is large. You should see Stevie's up close and personal. We're about the same size of head. But we got a VIP guest because we're honoring a Longhorn, which has a great story. He's no longer with us. Cole Pittman, who 22 years ago today or this week passed away. And we're going to dive in that story with his father, who is Mr. Marc Pittman. And he's on the upper right in Louisiana there representing the – what do we call Louisiana? The boot state?
We've been called a lot of things.
The sportsman's paradise, man. It's the sportsman's
paradise.
I'm the only boy from Shreveport that never fish. I don't fish, man. I don't hunt or fish. But, you know, everybody that I went to high school with all hunt, fish, even Cole, all did all that stuff. But not me, man. No.
Well, you just like to eat them, don't you, Steve?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, before we have some fun and remembering a great guy who will forever be a part of Texas Longhorn football history, and it's just a great story. But again, we're going to stick with the Shreveport theme here. You'll see in the lower right, the upper left, and now you see it right here. Hargrove Roofing, based out of Shreveport, Louisiana. And they've expanded into Texas, and they're doing well in Austin. Coach Ab, he is running the operations in Austin, Texas, doing a great job with this. Stevie, I love him when he says their slogan. What is it?
Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
So, Mr. Pittman, you need any roofing done, repaired, work, replaced? You got to go with your hometown guys there, Hargrove Roofing, or spread the word, share it with your friends, whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good people over at Hargrove Roofing. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. So, Mr. Pittman and Stevie, I don't know how to begin except for Shreveport Evangel Christian. It was a national high school power, and I want to say from the mid-'90s for a long time. And both of your boys, Cole and Chase, Stevie, Philip Geiger, the list is long. I mean, I want to hear from you guys about that run and being a part of that community, you know, with Cole and how you guys were all tied together because of Shreveport Evangel Christian.
Well, Mr. Pittman, you want to go? You were there before me.
I can go on that. We ran a West Coast offense where the guys started out about 9 yards deep. You didn't have an offensive line. You could still throw the ball before they got back there. Defensively, I did security for the team, and the defensive coordinator, Ron Alexandra, rode with me with the other defensive coaches. And I can't tell you how many times those kids were so coached up that he would sit over and he would X's and O's, and I wouldn't say a word. Then it'd say, call Dennis Dunn, the head coach, and tell him pull over at the next hotel or the next rest area, and he would put the defense in on the way to the game.
Wow.
And those kids, defense wins games. Isn't that right, Stevie? We defense wins games. And, of course, they had that high-powered offense, but we give them the ball a whole lot.
Absolutely.
And it was one of the greatest joys of my life. I think Cole had lost 3 ball games in his life, one at Evangel when he went to University of Texas.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was just amazing. Amazing run with amazing coaches. They put God first. And it was just, it's a part of me that just, and my boys, my grandsons are now getting to the age where I'm hoping that they will be a part of that and can understand what a great joy it was. It was family. We were family. And I think you could line them up against the LSU, maybe not Texas, but you could line them and they thought they could beat them. There was no losing wasn't in their vocabulary. It was win no matter what the cost.
Yeah, echoing that a little bit, man. I lost in 7th grade. I went to a public middle school in Shreveport, and I lost a game in 7th grade. I lost one game that 7th grade year. I went undefeated 8th grade year, and then I went undefeated all the way through high school.
Oh, my God.
So I didn't know losing from 7th grade until my freshman year of college. So that first game when we flew out to Stanford and Tiger Woods on the sideline and Stanford beats us and we had that 5-hour flight back home, I didn't know what to do with myself, man. I was like, we just lost the game. I haven't felt losing since I was in 7th grade, man. And so that was the culture that Coach Dunn put into that program there. And it was just a winning culture on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. But Mr. Pittman's right. Defense won the championships, man. We won the games because we did. We gave the ball back to the offense plenty. And Brock Berlin he would line up 7 yards off the line and then drop another 3, because the O line was just letting people just blow through. But that's if there was a weak spot on our team, it was the O line, but they were still good. We got some runs in there, but it was a culture of winning. But Mr. Pittman was also right as we put God first, and then the other thing that I had to beat into my teammates here at the University of Texas is we worked like in the off season. Mr. Pittman will know this. He was there just about every workout with his boys. But we worked in the off season. We were in the weight room. We had a program called Bigger, Faster, Stronger, BFS. And so we got bigger, we got faster, we got stronger every summer. And Coach Dunn didn't play. We were there at like 6:30 in the morning, some stretches, and get our workout in, go to school, and then get the practice in. So this wasn't by luck that we all came together. It was hard work that we put in.
Right. So what I found, I was finishing up at Stephen F. Austin, and then my second job in sports media, second of 4 or 5, was in East Texas when Lufkin was on the rise.
Yeah.
And they played Evangel twice while I was there. But I noticed, so Mack started at Texas in 98 and great coaching staff. And you guys remember. And so he established a pipeline to Evangel. Mr. Pittman, Stevie, we'll start with you, Mr. Pittman. How did that pipeline all start? I mean, I know the game of recruiting, it is very competitive, especially these bordering states around Texas. How did Mack Brown get in there and beat out LSU?
I got to tell you, I get emotional when I talk about this. Mack Brown, there's nobody like Mack Brown. There's no recruiter like Mack Brown. And Mack Brown made University of Texas. When I went to first time visit the University of Texas, it was like a small town school to me. It was so family oriented. It was so united, and it was family. And my wife just approached me just a few seconds ago and said, Mack Brown put out this beautiful collage of photos today on the anniversary that we buried my son. And that's Mack Brown. He is the most influential, the most loving, the most compassionate, the most caring individual for kids. And what Mack did was, you got two different kinds of coaches. You got coaches that win at all costs, and then you got coaches that if one kid can succeed, or I could win the national championship, Mack Brown would say, let that kid succeed. If we win the national championship, they're just going to want that again last year. He cared about the kids. And I say kids, they're young men. And I still stay in contact with Mack on Father's Day and at times like this. And I tell you, I love the man. I'd die for him in a heartbeat. Yeah. But Mack Brown is just when the first time I met him, and he told Cole, he said, son, we're recruiting you because you're a good athlete with character. If you didn't have character, it wouldn't matter how great you are. We wouldn't need you here at University of Texas. We wouldn't want you. And I went back and told the boy's mother, and I said, you got to get a taste of this guy. And she went, and of course, we let Cole make the decision, but it was, I have to go back and second guess. I lost my boy. I'm going back to Texas. If I'd send him somewhere else, would I have him? No, it's Texas. It's Mack Brown was Texas for us. Stevie Lee, we're family. I'll always be family with those guys. Love them.
Golly. Yeah. When I started getting recruited by Coach Brown, I echo everything that Mr. Pittman just said. Just a stand-up guy. One of the things that really helped me make my decision, one, when Coach Brown was at North Carolina, he recruited my quarterback my freshman year, Philip Dees. So Philip Dees from Evangel went to go play for Coach Brown at North Carolina. And when Mr. Pittman would basically kidnap me and put me in his truck to come down to recruiting visits with Cole. And then when Cole committed here, we would come down to the spring game, and then to see Cole, Mr. Pittman would just throw me and Philip in the back of his truck, and we'd come down. And so, but every time we came down to see Cole and the University of Texas, Mack Brown was just always stand up to us, right? He was a stand-up guy to me. He was genuine. He always said, being the recruit that I was, all these coaches around the country are going to tell you what you think you want to hear, what they think you want to hear. And most of them was like, oh, man, we watch film and you'll be a starter here your freshman year. Coach Brown never told me that. He said, if you work hard, you'll get a chance to play. And I knew that was genuine from him. They'll give me a chance to play if I work hard. They're not gonna give you a position. No school is gonna give you a position without seeing you on the field yet. And so I knew that. And that tributes to the culture I came out of high school in, is we worked hard, and the ones that work hard on the practice fields are the ones that are going to be playing in the game. So I knew that. And Coach Brown was just always genuine with that. But it started for me when Cole committed to the University of Texas, and Mr. Pittman would the first time I came to Austin, Mr. Pittman can tell you the whole story about the little airplane that we came down in.
Oh, I can't wait.
You got to hear this. I have a friend, Jerry Anderson, who's a State Farm agent, and he has a 4-seater plane. Well, I'm going to fly down there. We're going to fly to him and Stevie and Philip Giger. We're going to all fly down there for a practice. And First thing Jerry did was didn't trim out the plane, expecting a 300-pound defensive lineman sitting in the back of the plane. And so when we leave Shreveport, he's fighting controls like crazy, and the plane just literally stalls there for a few minutes. I'm thinking we're going down. But what was funny was we go and we watch the practice. We go get back in the plane, and we're leaving Austin.
It's nighttime. It's dark when we get back on the
plane. And all of a sudden there's this flash in the cab of the plane, and I look at Jerry Anderson, the pilot, and I can say he's startled. And in a minute there's another flash, and I'm looking for a 747. The ear holders. I mean, there's something going on, and I can tell the pilot was nervous. After about the third or fourth flash, I turned around and looked, and Stevie and Phillip had gotten these little throwaway cameras with a flash bulb, and they were taking pictures of Austin as we were leaving.
Oh God!
I remember y'all looking around, looking outside and everything, and I remember you looking back at us and it was like, "Oh, they're taking pictures," you know. But it was a small plane, so you really couldn't hear each other talking, you know. And so, and you know what? That was my first time flying too. That was my very first time on an airplane, and it was the smallest airplane that you can ever imagine, leaving from Shreveport, Louisiana, coming down to Austin, Texas, and that was the time that the airport was
in North Street,
yeah.
North Austin.
Yeah, we landed in that airport, and then went to practice. I think you rented a car or something, and we went over to practice, and then left practice and jumped on the plane and went right back to Shreveport, man. And Mr. Pittman and the pilot thought we were about to get ear holed by 747. So we got stories for days, man. And you know what? If you want to hear them, come out to the golf tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So Cole signs, and there's how many? Refresh my memory. How many Shreveport Evangel guys were on that Texas roster at one given moment?
Well, we have me, Phillip, Cole, Chase came. Chase ended up, transferring to LSU, but he was there for a while, and I loved seeing him on campus. But I understood he did what he had to do, you know.
Right.
And then later on, we had a kicker. I can't remember his name, but a kicker came in from Evangel, or a punter. One of those guys. I call them. They're the same. They don't do anything in practice but kick a ball. But anyway, so what is that? That's 6 guys.
Wow.
That came in from Evangel, and we had a couple of them that was, we were top 2, and they ended up going elsewhere. Like one of them, I think, went to OU, and then someone else a couple of them went to LSU. But Coach Brown had a hold on Evangel and the Evangel boys.
I don't know how you say OU without OU suck.
It's hard, man. It's hard. Yeah.
So Cole comes to Texas, completely just immerses himself into the culture and becomes a big part of the plans. Wears the jersey number 44. Was it the 2000 season? You know, he makes an impact pretty quick, right? Defensive end.
It's a process when you're playing. One of the things that Cole told me, we talk every night. We talk several times a day, but every night at 9:30, he called and tell me he loved me. And one of the things that he said to me, Cole never was. He was happier to see somebody else's success more than his own success. He would be happier seeing you get a new car than him getting our truck, or than him getting the truck. He was just that kind of individual. And I remember one night at one of those 9:30 I love you calls was, Dad, I love this place. Everybody's an All-American.
Wow.
And so it's when you're going out and you're competing with a group of guys, it's a process. You just don't jump out there like Stevie said. Some of those coaches, I can tell you, every college in America was recruiting Cole, and you'd hear a lot of that. Oh, you start right off the bat. You start right off the bat. Yeah. Mack didn't play that. you got to earn it. Yeah. And it's a process when you're playing with that talent of individuals.
Yeah, if you remember back then, we had just was Cole in Corey Redding and Chris Sims' class, or was that the class before him?
I'm missing you there, Steve.
Was Cole in the same class as Corey Redding and Chris Sims?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cole and Chase were in the #1 recruiting class in America, both of them.
The #1 recruiting class in America. Coach Brown landed not only Cole Pittman, but he landed
Phil Sims, Corey Redding,
Chris Sims, and Corey Redding. Chris Sims is the USA Today Player of the Year, High School Player of the Year, and Corey Redding is the USA Today High School Defensive Player of the Year. The offensive and the defensive player of the year. I don't know if that's been done before.
No, I don't recall it.
Yeah. So getting the 2 national players of the years on offense and defense in the same class, that's a no-brainer #1 class, And then, having other players that came in that class, it was a beast of a class, and you had to work. We worked. Mad Dog put us through all kinds of stuff, man. So it was nothing was given to you on this campus back then, and you can tell that's why we had 9-10 win seasons for that stretch of 6, 7, 8 years.
It was so, Mark, as a dad, through the recruitment, and I remember, and I think I told you, and this is really weird how the world works. And I think it's amazing if we just all open our eyes and realize how we're all connected. We're all somewhat related or connected. I remember I came in town back home for the spring game. And I remember sitting next to you with a friend of mine. And that must have been 2000, right?
Yes.
2000 spring game. We're sitting under the west side upper deck. And you were telling me that I was trying to ask about your son, and you said the same thing. It's all a process. He'll get an opportunity, but I remember you saying something to the effect that he wants to be worked. He wants to earn it. And because I didn't realize, I knew, but I didn't realize how talented that defensive line depth was at the time. Mm-hmm. And I just remember that like it was yesterday. And you haven't aged one bit.
God bless you.
No, I'm gonna say this: he hadn't aged one bit, man. I always gotta, whenever we see Mr. Pittman and his wife, Mr. Pittman comes up and give me a big old hug, and he goes and give my wife a big old hug, and I gotta separate them because she has a thing for older white gentlemen out there, I guess, or just Mark. So
I'm gonna tell you what kind of impact Stevie had on my wife. When I said, what do I need to wear? She said, well, put on your hat, it'll cover your age, but wear something black. Stevie says it's slimming.
That is the truth.
He did. Stevie showed up at the golf tournament, and he's wearing all black. And Stevie's 105 degrees. Why are you wearing black? He said, Miss Mark, it's slimming.
Hey, it makes that physique look chiseled, baby.
Yeah, man. Look chiseled. That's it.
So, 2000, pretty good year. I mean, 98 was a 9-win season. 99 was a 9-win season. But you could see what was about to happen in 2000. You go to I know it was a Holiday Bowl loss, close one to Oregon, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then we fast forward through the holiday break. And this is the date that we're celebrating this week, but honoring. And for you guys, and I know, Mark, that is this date, has there been a day gone by that you don't think about February 26th?
22nd, I believe. Was it
22nd or 26th?
26th, February 26th. February 26th. No, I relive it 1,000 times. I relive it, and the day that I lost him, I put my arms around him, and he had drove in to it surprised us. Spring was starting on Monday, and I got up at 4:00 in the morning and walked out to get the paper, and there's truck sitting in the driveway. And we had a great weekend. Sunday, his favorite coach was our defensive coordinator, Ron Alexander, who's still very close to me. In fact, he's over here tonight using my boat to go fishing. And he wanted to go by and see Spot, Coach A, and then he stayed up the biggest part of the night with Chase. And then that morning, I prayed the Jabez prayer over him for God to enlarge his territory. I lost him. I lost him that morning. But then I had to either feel guilty because he stayed wanting to spend more time with me, or because I prayed for God to enlarge his territory. After raising Cole, I've heard from all over the world. I've heard from Australia, from Africa, Hawaii. One guy read it, went about 7,000 copies. And his territory was enlarged, probably much more in his death than it could have ever been in his life. So did I pray for his death? So I had to deal with that. And it's, but I think God's still using Cole. They use him in the golf tournament. He keeps his name out there. God bless those young men that continue to do the golf tournament. I love those guys. And I'd made a promise to him that standing beside his casket, that as long as I live, I would make sure he's never forgotten.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, there's a script written. It took us 5 years to write the script. For anyone that's read the book or listened to the book, it's an audio in my voice. The movie script is better than the book. And I think it will continue. I think it'll happen. I don't know if it happened in my lifetime. It's on God's time. I think it'll continue to touch lives, make a difference, and honor the University of Texas. It definitely honors the University of Texas. It gives you a taste of what the people of Texas and the University of Texas are really like.
Stevie, and correct me if I'm wrong, I found out about it at noon on that day. I found out about it because I was in East Texas, and it's Highway 79, going through East Texas, one car in his truck, and correct me if I'm wrong, he fell asleep and had a fatal accident, and that's when he was taken from us. Stevie, I don't want to ask a ridiculous question. How did it make you? How did you feel at the time? You're human. All of us. Were you in denial when you first heard that?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely was. Coach Brown gathered us all in the team meeting room, and some of the guys kind of knew what was up. They didn't know. No one knew what had happened, but apparently there was a bunch of state troopers upstairs in the coaches' offices and things like that. And so they gathered all of us, the whole team. We were going to have a team meeting anyway because spring ball was about to start. So, we were having a team meeting. I remember I had one shoe on because I was rehabbing my broken foot. And we all are gathered in the team meeting room, and Cleve Bryant, who we just had his funeral 2 weeks ago, he says, Stevie and Phillip, go see Coach Drake. And Mr. Pittman, you remember Coach Drake, who's passed, about 5-6 years ago. But Coach Drake was our recruiting coordinator of Shreveport. And so he took us to a meeting room, just Phillip and I, and then gave us the news. I just dropped in disbelief, and I immediately wanted to just call my mom. I remember that. told her what had happened, and she was in disbelief. And she was like, I'm coming down there. She was ready to come down to me and things like that because I lost my friend. I told her just to wait, just hang in there, just wait, and I'll just give you some more news. And then I talked to my dad. He was in disbelief. He asked if I wanted them both to come down, and I said no, y'all just wait. And but that's really all I remember. I remember Coach Brown being the guy that he is, didn't care about NCAA rules, didn't care about anything. He said, come to my house. We'll get you some food, get you this, and that. And I was dating Summer at the time, my wife. He was like, bring your girlfriend. You can just hang out at my house and not worry about anything. And this was when the NCAA was the NCAA and cracking down on people. Like they extra benefits for players was a no back then. But he didn't care. He wanted to make sure that Philip and I were okay.
Yeah.
And so I know Coach Brown wrote later that he probably should have pulled Chance Mock out of that room too, because they were friends as well. But it was devastating. And then my teammates, I remember the teammates coming around and rallying around each other, everyone. It was a devastating. And I know Mr. Pittman, I can never feel what you guys felt then, but I'm just telling you what our experience is. I know it was a whole nother level for you guys, but from where we were in the team, it was difficult to wrap our heads around it. It was for me also. I've known Cole since I was a freshman in high school, and ended up following the kid to the University of Texas, and we were tight, And so, being that young and my first time dealing with somebody that close to me passing, it was tough, and trying to figure it all out.
Mr. Pittman, I lost my father, but I've heard, and fortunately, this has not happened much to me of people I know who have lost their children.
Yeah.
But I've always heard that's the greatest pain. And for you to be where you are right now, talking to us and honoring your son, does it still feel like, I mean, I know things are therapeutic, time heals, but you're not completely healed. I mean, there's no way. I wouldn't be.
That's what I tell people that have lost children and have counseled with people. We only cry because we loved them. Would you really want to not cry, to not care? There's a lot of people that nobody remembers. Yeah. My biggest fear is one day I'll wake up and go a day without thinking about him, go a day without crying. Those days are my best days. Those days are the days that I feel closest to him. And, it's the way to survive it is to go be the person you wanted that person to be. And that's what I try to do, to be the man I wanted my son to be. It changed my life. His life changed my life. He taught me how to love. There's a chapter book called Love Wars. And he taught me how to love, but he also taught me how to live. And he taught me more in his death than he did in his life.
Man, that's powerful. That is
powerful.
This is the part that I've never heard. And the book Raising Cole, and we'll get to that even more because I know you've unbundled some of it and we're talking about it, and I think that's amazing. I thought the next powerful image that I want to be honest with you, I remember this image at least twice a year when you guys played North Carolina. 2001 season. And ass kicking over North Carolina. Then Texas gets to 44 points. And as a team, you guys elect, let's stop. And you guys could have scored. And I think it Major or Sims who was the quarterback? Major
took the knee.
Took a knee, pointed to the sky. And you guys as a family, I believe, are honored prior to the game, correct?
Oh, absolutely, yes. That was the Cole Pittman Memorial game. And to not think there's a God after that, you'd have to be a sick individual, because I'm telling you, it was amazing, and amazing for the score to why it was a life story. It was so special, to relive that game. And of course, I thought we were headed for the national championship because of it. Didn't work out. But later on, I would write a letter to Mack explaining about it not working out and why it was okay. It was such a unique game, and a lot of Cole's closest friends made plays that they didn't make that kind of play again the rest of the year. But it was like it was designed, and then the whole stadium holding up 44 after the caught on to what the players were doing. It was such an uplifting time. In fact, the University of Texas and Mack, that's a lot of how I survived. I fed off that. Texas will never know how much I love them.
It's quite evident. And then your younger son, Chase, who all of you are the Evangel boys are just all tied together. I know it's a fraternity. Right. He signs with Texas.
He signed with Texas, and he went to LSU, and I'm telling you, I was so upset, but I wouldn't. You got to let, at that age, you got to let people make their own decisions. Whether it be a mistake or whether it be a positive. Now, Nick Saban was at LSU, and he recruited the best defensive ends in the nation. I said, "Son, are you crazy? You lost your mind?" He said, "Dad, I can't even walk into McDonald's and stand at a urinal and wonder if Cole stood there before. It's killing me. I'm going to transfer. I'll be fine." Of course, he had set out a year of the transfer rule, so he set out. Nick was there, and he proved himself to Nick. And then Nick left and went to the Miami Dolphins, and Les Miles came, and he proved himself. Les and started his final 2 years for LSU. The only 2 years else been then was drafted by Cleveland. So it worked out. He proved me wrong. It was. But I think Chase played more to honor his brother than he did for Chase.
Yeah. I never heard that, but I can only imagine him saying, going into a McDonald's and wondering if my brother was there. That's tough. That's tough. So, I mean, I get exactly. He had to do what he had to do for himself at that time, So
that's a grown man decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been referencing, and it's a great read. It's been out a while, and I've somehow managed to maintain my copy right here, and it still looks new. There's a few stains from coffee on it, but I tell you what, and I think the both of you, it was so well done. And the forwards by the late, great Darrell Royal. Yeah. The part that you said, Mark, in the beginning, that every night you ended with a phone call with him and saying, "I love you." I mean, I asked certain people to read this to strengthen their relationship with their children or whatnot. That's pretty profound and strong. Something as simple, 3 words, talk to them last. I mean, do you ever counsel or to other parents, kids?
Let me tell you a story that's not in the book.
Please do.
Every night at 9:30, Cole would call and tell me he loved me. We'd have these talks, and we may talk 3 or 4 times a day. We were so connected that they were doing things on our relationship. I'm one of 16 kids. I never heard my daddy tell me he loved me. And they were already doing stories on the relationship because it was unique and wanting to know how the relationship was done. But every night at 9:30, Cole would call. Didn't matter what he did. We didn't make a big scene about it or anything. Cole didn't. But at 9:30, he was going to call me, and I'd hear, "Dad, I love you so much." And the day he died, I thought those phone calls were over with, done. And at 9:30, the phone rang. It was one of the University of Texas football players.
Oh, my God.
And he called me and told me he loved me. And for every night until Chase got down there at 9:30, one of the football players would call and tell me they loved me. One night, and I hope he's listening to this because it means so much to me, Mike Jones called. Tight end, 6'5", 265, good looking. I think Mike may have played in the league a little bit. He called me at 9:30 and said, "Mr. Mark, it's Mike. I love you so much." And then he began to cry. He said, "Mr. Mark, I don't have a daddy. I don't know who my daddy is. I don't have a good relationship with my children. Would you teach me how to be a good daddy?" I'm not a very smart man. I'm more along the Forrest Gump side. And it just came through me. Son, you don't need a daddy or role model to be the greatest daddy in the world. To be the greatest daddy in the world, all you have to do is be the daddy you always wanted. And because you're so passionate about the things you do with the daddy, if you had a daddy, you go do those things with your children, and you'll be a better daddy than kids that have daddies just take them for granted. Later on, I was sitting leaning against Cole's headstone, and I was reflecting on the wisdom that came out of that, because it certainly didn't come from me. It came through me. And you don't just be the daddy you always wanted. You be the friend you always wanted. You be the employer you would want. You be the spouse that you would want. Most importantly, you be the child that you would always want. You say you're not children. You're gray-headed. I'm God's child. And when God said he made us his image, what was he talking about? He looks most like him, me, Stevie, looks most like God? No. What he was saying was, I desire the same things from you as my child as you desire from your children. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. Most of all, I just want you to love me. And that's the way I live this day.
Yeah. Man, that's beautiful.
Being the person I would want somebody else to be.
That's inspiring. Stevie, has this story affected you and how you're a dad?
Yes, it has. First of all, I can't imagine going through what Mr. Pittman has gone through. I have 2 girls, and two girls hold their daddy on this pedestal. So I got my hands full with them, but I got an example with my parents. I got 2 great mom and dad, still live in Shreveport, and so I got good examples from them. But also, my dad worked a lot when I was in high school and in college. So he wasn't able to go to every practice. So what was inspiring to me is that Mr. Marc Pittman was at every single practice on the sideline. He pull up his truck, sit on the tailgate, or open the back hatch and everything, and sit there and watch practice. Cole would run over there, kiss his daddy, and go to the locker room, and he was there every day. And so that's one thing that I take from one of the things that I take from Mr. Pittman and the Pittman family is be there for your kids. I think that I am there. My girls think probably I'm there too much at their school, and at every single volleyball tournament. You know, I miss a lot of things just because I want to go to their volleyball tournaments. You know, my daughter's track meets are during the day most of the time because, you know, we're 3A and we go out to these country towns. So I have to leave sometimes at noon just to make it to her throwing sessions at 3, you know. And I get there and I make sure that she sees me because I knew how it made me feel seeing Mr. Pittman always there for Cole and Chase. So I enjoy watching my kids and being there for them, just the way Mr. Pittman was there for his boys. So that I really take that, and I appreciate that, Mr. Pittman, that you actually took time out of your day. And I put if I don't work, I don't eat. So I put clients on the back burner.
Good for you.
Good for you, man. I love to hear it.
Yeah, to go out there. You know, I'm running all the way out to Belton and Temple and Marble Falls for these, you know, my daughter's JV last year track meets. And these kids don't know how to throw anything, but what's most important is she's going to look up and see her daddy right there, you know? So
that's important.
That is very important. And so I appreciate that. I really got that out of Mr. Pittman. And I guess I didn't know that until right now. You know, I mean, I always knew while I was doing it, but I you know, it was inspiring, and you inspired me to do that. And I do make sure I take time out of my day to be with my girls. Like Sean's like, hey man, can we film a show on such and such day? And I was like, man, I got volleyball practice. I can't do it. So
I respect it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Stevie has great parents, but I and love them to death. But I'm gonna tell you, when I think about his daddy, I think about it was the first time that Stevie's dad and mom had carried Stevie down, had driven down to Texas, and we were on the way back, and I had a Cadillac Escalade, and they were following us. And I looked in the mirror and I didn't see him. And so I called him on the phone. I said, where you at? And he was right behind you. And I didn't see him. Stevie's daddy got behind the wrong Escalade.
That sounds about right, man.
Oh, my God. That is
they
so
were headed to A&M. God forbid that.
Yeah.
End up in College Station.
And, I did say my dad worked a lot, but he also made time to come down to our games in college. Like he was on the road coming to the games in college. I remember we played in Baylor, and my parents had an accident on 35 coming to the Baylor game. We was playing at Baylor.
Oh my God!
Totaled his truck out, ran into a back of a 18-wheeler, and he totaled his truck out, but they still made it to the game. You know, still made it to the game. They were all right and things like that, but he still made it to the game. So shout out to Papa Lee. He still made it there and still supported me, man. It was good. But he had to get back because he had to work on Sundays sometimes, you know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he worked a lot back then. But yeah, man, it's all that, you know, coupled all that in. Definitely inspired the way I father today.
But I've been a part of 2 of these, and they've been going on for, you know, Todd Hunt does an amazing job in the UT football alumni. This year is coming up June 17th. It's obviously not the coolest part of the year, but it's well worth it. And what can you tell people who may be watching this? It's obviously honoring the life of your son and to keep his memory alive, but how would you describe the difference because this tournament, honestly, it's also a lot of fun, but for an amazing cause and to honor an amazing young man that happens to be your son. What is different about this golf tournament and why people should at least try it?
That's pretty easy. it's again, it doesn't even matter if someone's an outsider. When you come to that golf tournament, you become a part of family, and it's just you establish relationships. That's what we was created for, relationships, and it's just. I mean, it's just you can't leave there without feeling euphoric and blessed to be around a group of guys. And Todd Hunt does do an amazing job of putting that together, and it just seems to get bigger and better every year. Love it. If we're there, I'm not a golfer. I believe real men don't play golf or wear turtlenecks. But I'm there. And I'm there supporting those guys, and it's just an amazing event for us, and good food, and just hanging out, just a party. It's just a party.
It's one remembering Cole, and I love seeing Mr. Pittman and his wife and Miss Judy there. I love seeing them every year there, but also I love my ex-players that I played with, and some guys that I didn't play with still come out, or didn't play with Cole, or probably didn't even know Cole. They were still in high school. They still come out, but hugging on the Pittman family. You know what I mean? Chase has come out a few years, and I love seeing him and his family out there. It's a really good time, and we hug, and I love that Mr. Pittman grabs the mic and pray over us before we go out on a golf course, and then that's when the shotgun starts. When it starts, as we get out on that course and we cut up. I'm not joking. Todd got a shot on just about every hole.
Yeah, I know.
I get a cigar on the front nine, and I get a cigar on the back nine. And man, by the time we're done, we've had a really good time out there, and it's all in fun. It's all a reunion. It's dare I say it? Someone at the T Association may hear me, but this is the best reunion golf tournament, because we have one as a T Association reunion golf tournament that comes up in April. But this is the golf tournament for ex-players, and the public can be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what's fun, because we get some guys out there that just kind of want to be around us.
Yeah,
and it's fun. It's still fun, but it's a lot of fun. You can there's auction items and all that stuff. I really have a good time every year, and I've brought friends in from Dallas and Houston to come and play with me for this thing, and just to be around us, like guys that have played football, D1 football at other universities, and they all love it. They always ask me, when are we coming back? I've bought 2 teams before because I had so many guys wanting to come down, so it's a lot of fun, man, as you both know, but it's for a good cause, for the endowment, and shout out to Todd Hunt, BJ, and Sloan, and those guys for keeping this going. I'm so happy that it's something that we have. No other university have what we have at the University of Texas, and I really want these kids that we're recruiting to understand that no matter what coach you're under, being recruited under, if you are a part of the University of Texas and you get your T Association ring, you are a part of it. Mr. Pittman is a part of it. Chase is still a part of it. Even though he went to LSU, he's still a part of us, And so, and Cole, obviously, is still a part of us. Mm-hmm. We are, and I've talked to the new coaches and new recruiting coordinators, and they need to understand what we have, because a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't understand what we have life after football here. I built a whole career out of it, man. So it's special here, and I'm hats off to the Pittman family for opening my eyes to how special it is here. When Cole was here and we would, like I said, get in the back of Mr. Pittman's truck, it was I can feel how special it was back then. And I'm sure Mr. Pittman felt the same way when they were recruiting Cole. But it's just special here, and it's been special for the last 20, 23, 24, 25 years for me, you know.
Stevie, without Texas, there would be no summer. And you understand what I'm saying there, don't you, brother?
Yeah.
Some people may need to understand that's Stevie's wife. Married way up, way up.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, man. I wouldn't have the babies that I have.
Stevie don't let her come to the golf tournament because she's so hot. She got everybody out there sweating.
Hey, it's the Stevie show.
No, it's not.
For the next 30 seconds. But we're coming back on the other side of this break.
Hi, I'm Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the University of Texas.
And I'm Clyde Hargrove. I'm a roofer.
I also saw action in 52 games.
And I fix a lot of roofs.
Also won a Rose Bowl and never lost to A&M.
And I fix a lot of roofs, right, Stevie?
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I zoned out a little bit.
So are you going to say that thing about Hargrove Roofing?
Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
Is this even going to work as a commercial?
Now everybody just wants to buy a roof and a copy of from Hargrove Roofing and a copy of Raising Cole, man. And if you do that, that's a complete day.
Yep.
Because you know you're getting a good book and you're going to know who's on your roof.
Absolutely, man. Hargrove Roofing know who's on your roof. And in fact, they're doing my parents' roof in Shreveport, I guess next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So they've done my mom's roof, Stevie's parents. Now we need Mr. Pittman's roof replaced by Hargrove Roofing.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Mr. Pittman, are you a TikToker by any chance?
No.
No.
Real
Well,
men don't play golf, don't wear turtlenecks, or watch TikTok.
So there's a lot of interesting material. Usually I find there's a lot of risque things. There's some fun stuff. There's sports stuff. You learn stuff from people, but there's this couple. They've got to be Gen Zers in their early 40s, middle 40s. This woman, she's got this dancing down to a T, and her husband just watches and smiles and laughs. You guys remember Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, in the early 90s. This is only a portion of this. Watch this woman. She has got it down to a T. And in the stare, it's good acting. This is for entertainment purposes, of course.
Turn off the lights, and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, rush the speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope melody. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gain weight. You better hit the bullseye, the kid don't play. And if there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby.
That stare down was priceless.
Yeah, man. She got it. She got the moves, man. And
You got to love a woman can move, and you know he can't when he don't participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be me. I would pull a hamstring right now trying to do that.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
I'll tell you
Stevie Lee. You tell me something good, Stevie Lee.
Something good was, man, I really enjoyed talking to Mr. Pittman this tonight.
Yeah. That
was really good. That was really fun to just talk, but also really, I got emotional a little bit, but it was really good to talk about Cole again. That's something good for me tonight. I know we always talk about what's good coming up in the future and things like that, but really this tonight was really good. And I really appreciate you Mr. Pittman, for jumping on and hanging out with us for this hour, and really reflecting on the life of Cole Pittman and also the love of the Pittmans. Because frankly, you didn't have to put me and Philip in the back of your car and drive us down here. You didn't have to put us on that plane and fly us to Austin, but it honestly changed my life. It really did change my life. I didn't know where I was going. Every school in the country recruited me, but I was taught what love was. I was taught what respect was when I got here, and it made me a better person for being here, and that's why I never left. You know, I came here in January 2000, so I just hit 23 years at the University of Texas, or in Austin, and I can't change that decision. I wouldn't change that decision for the world. It was. I've met great people like Sean here. I met some great teammates here, and it all started with Mr. Pittman flying us down here on this prop plane, and they almost got hit by a 747.
Oh my God!
Oh, well, the only thing that I can see wrong with a podcast, especially one like yours, Sean, is it's awesome. The only bad thing is you can't hug your neck.
Yeah, brother, I can't wait to see you June 17th. I really, we have each other's number, and I tell this is maybe my tell me something good relative to you, Mr. Pittman and Stevie, is, man, and I think COVID taught us this, and we're human, but we forget things. That may be something else going on with me by forgetting things, but the fact is we have contacts for people, and it's something I want to change. Is this podcast right here, especially this episode, your story, Cole's story, and just hearing you and Stevie talk has really inspired me to reach out to people that are either positive, inspiring, people I love, and just whether it be friends, family, acquaintances, whatnot, and let them know how I feel.
Yeah. If I've got a minute or two, I'll tell you another Cole Pittman story.
Please do.
One of those 9:30 calls, I asked Cole about Austin and the people in Austin. And he said, Dad, they're very liberal. They're not like back at Shreveport. And I said, so change that. He says, what are you saying, Dad? And I said, look, I want you to, he said, people don't speak or acknowledge you when you meet them walking on the sidewalk or whatever. And I said, son, let's try something here. And you tell me in 2 weeks, let's don't talk about this for 2 weeks. I said, every person that you meet, I want you to speak to. He said, Dad, Austin, University of Texas, 55,000 students. And then there's all these other people. And I said, so speak to them. And let's see what happens in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, I said, okay, tell me what happened. He said, Dad, the first week, he said, I'm speaking to all these people going down the sidewalk. You know, Cole's got his old cowboy boots and that old straw hat on. He said, speaking to people, so they're not even acknowledging me. He said, by Monday or Tuesday of the second week, he said, they're starting to respond. And he said, by the end of the week, I can tell they're looking for me. And that's the way it is. We individually can make a difference in people's lives just by acknowledging them and speaking to them. There's two kinds of people in the world. There's people that want to be loved and liars. Everybody wants to be loved.
I got you.
That's 100%.
Got you.
Man, Mr. Pittman's a wealth of common sense and knowledge. More people were like you. I have a feeling this our society would change real quick.
Absolutely. That's something good right there. That's
no divisions.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's something good for sure.
That's the most powerful one I've heard. in 238 episodes. No offense.
Yeah. It's all right. None taken at all, man. I'm right there with you.
Guys, I can't wait to see you, Mr. Pittman. And seriously, if you're in Austin before June, let us know. Or if we go to Shreveport.
Absolutely.
You got a place to stay. You're always welcome at my house.
Man,
absolutely.
Hey, we sit on your porch, and we'll tell stories just like this, without a doubt. Well, I hope our audience is inspired by something from this episode. And man, I am overly grateful. And like I said, buy a copy of Raising Cole. If not for you, yourself, or somebody else that you think it would positively affect or maybe think differently in life. And Mr. Pittman, thanks again, man. Much love to you, and I can't wait to hug your neck as well.
All right, love you guys.
Love you too. Love you.
So for Stevie, well, hey, I have two prides of Shreveport, Louisiana, in here for the prides of Shreveport, Louisiana, and the OG Man Cave boys. That being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and Coach Mo. What do we say, Stevie?
We out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.